So thank you. Well, first of all, I want to welcome everyone to this IFCC Town Hall for Asia Pacific region, and in collaboration with Asia Pacific Federation of Clinical Biochemistry. Professor Sunil Sethi will be coordinating and moderating this town hall today. So I'll let him show you, give us an introduction, and then we'll start with some presentation. Please go ahead, Sunil.
Thank you, Khosrow, President IFCC. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. It may be morning, it may be afternoon, it may be at night, wherever you are. Thank you very much for taking time to attend this very first and inaugural IFCC APFCB Town Hall. This is actually a brainchild of the President of the IFCC, Professor Khosrow Adeli. In this current situation, IFCC has tried very hard to connect with the various regions in the world, and effort has been made to try and accommodate such engagements to adjust for the various time zones. So thank you very much. We plan to have a series of presentations so that every one of us in the APFCB particularly would understand the regional federation as well as the IFCC and the interaction. And we will have a time of discussion and Q&A. The whole event is expected to last between 1 and 2 hours. I trust all of you will have a fruitful and an enjoyable time. And without further ado, let me just give you a brief outline of the events or the sequence of events which is proposed for this for today's town hall. After my introduction, I will invite the President of the IFCC, Prof. Khosrow Adeli, to give us his presentation, introduction of the IFCC Executive Board and the Regional Federation members. We would have then another presentation by the Treasurer of the IFCC, followed by myself, who will cover some aspects of the APFCB, give you some highlights of the Regional Federation and what we are doing here in this part of the world. We would then be followed by a presentation on an exciting event scheduled in 8 months' time in Seoul, Korea. And we have the organizers, the conference organizing committee, Professor Jung Han Song, as well as the conference organizers, giving us a teaser and some highlights of this event. So stay tuned for this. And towards the end, we would have an open discussion, a Q&A. You will have your chance. You probably would require to type in a chat, and we'll try our best to answer and to discuss with you. So without further ado, let me now invite Professor Khosrow Adeli, President of the IFCC, to give us his introductory remarks. Khosrow, please.
Thank you very much, Sunil. I appreciate you agreeing to moderate this important town hall. As you mentioned, it's really a key new strategy for IFCC to improve communication between IFCC and all regions around the world. So it's great to see a very good turnout today. But I think the best is if we start with introductions. It's important that everyone on the panel introduces themselves quickly. So I'm Khosrow Adeli, President of IFCC. So let's go through our board members. David, please go ahead.
Thanks, Khosrow. I'm Dave Kinneber. I'm the secretary for the IFCC, and I'm on my second term. And I'm located in Calgary, Alberta, at the University of Calgary.
Thank you. Alex, please.
Good morning, good evening, mostly everyone. I'm Alexander Paliasos. I'm the treasurer of IFCC, and I'm based in Athens, Greece, and I'm also the president of the Greek Society of Clinical Chemistry, Clinical Biochemistry, and then responsible for the external quality assessment scheme that our society runs in Greece and in Balkans area.
Thank you, Alex. Joseph, please.
Hello, my name is Joe Passarelli. I'm the corporate representative to the executive board of the IFCC. I actually come from Roche Diagnostics, and I live in Indianapolis in the USA right now, which is in the very center of the country. And the city is called the Crossroads of America. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, Joseph. Anna Maria, please.
Hello, good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock in the morning in Croatia, in Europe. I'm Ana Maria Šimundić. I come from Zagreb, Croatia. I'm the head of the laboratory in one of the university hospitals in Croatia, and I'm also the president of the European Federation of Clinical Chemistry and Laboratory Medicine. And I'm very excited about the town hall, and I wish you all a very good time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we have Abdul Razak with us as well. Please go ahead, Abdul Razak.
I am hello. I am Idili Abdul Razak. I am professor of toxicology and director of the research laboratory, environment and contamination. And I am very happy to participate in this session.
Thank you. Abdul Razak represents the Arab Federation.
Arab Federation.
IFCC, yes. Thank you. Do we have any other board member that I missed? I don't think so.
Kudli is here.
Sorry?
Okasina.
Oh, Okasina, I don't see. But he might be joining later. But Sunil, would you like to introduce your board members, APFCB board members, please?
Sure. Okay, I'm Sunil Sethi. I'm the IFCC board representative for the Asia Pacific Federation. I'm also president of the APFCB, the Asia Pacific Federation of Clinical Biochemistry. Delighted to introduce my executive board and committee chairs. My immediate vice president, immediate past president of the APFCB is Dr. Leslie Lai from Kuala Lumpur.
Hello.
My vice president is Dr. Endang Hoyaranda from Jakarta, Indonesia. Treasurer is Ms. Leila Florento from Philippines, Manila, Philippines.
Great.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, and then I would have my secretary, who is Dr. Helen Martin. Helen Martin is from Adelaide, Australia. I don't see her, but I'm hoping she is somewhere around. So Helen is the secretary. And then I have 4 very active committee chair members, whom I'm proud to announce as well. The chair of my Education and Laboratory Management Committee is Dr. Tony Bedrick. No stranger, he's everywhere doing everything. Tony.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody.
Yes. The chair of my Communications Committee is Dr. Raja Alina. And Dr. Raja Alina is the president of the Malaysian Association, and she's from Kuala Lumpur.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Professor Praveen Sharma from India. He chaired the last APFCB Congress in Jaipur. He's based in India. Praveen, are you around? No, he may be in the other platform.
Might be, listening.
Yes. And my last committee chair is Professor Sam Vasikaran. He's the chair of my scientific committee, and he's based in Perth, Australia. So that's the APFCB executive board and committee chair. Control.
Thank you very much. perhaps our Korean colleagues can introduce themselves as well. Please go ahead, Dr. Song.
Hello. So I'm Jong Song. Did you see and hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Jong Song, and the chairman of the Congress Organized Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Song is the chair of the committee, the organizing committee for the Seoul meeting that's coming up next year. So great that you could join us as well as your other colleagues. Any other colleague from Korea or anywhere else who would like to introduce themselves?
Khosrow, I missed one from my executive board. This is my corporate member, similar to Joseph. I just want to introduce Dr. Alexander Wong. Alex is from Siemens. Alex is the corporate rep in the APFCB, and he's based in Singapore as well. Alex.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for joining us. I see a few other familiar voices. Please introduce yourself. Dr. Fang, go ahead, please. You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm Wei Hong Fang, and I think we hold the 2016 APFCB Congress, and a lot of people have come to Taipei, so I'm look a little bit familiar to you, and I'm very happy to join this town hall. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I see Dr. Sharma was able to join us. Thanks, Parveen. Anyone else who hasn't been introduced? Actually, I wanted to also introduce Stefano from MZeta, who is supporting the upcoming Seoul conference. Stefano, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Khosrow. I'm Stefano.
Test. Khosrow, I've lost audio.
Yeah, I think there was the system froze. Stefano, are you back?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sorry for the problem. I'm sorry again. I'm Stefano Montalberti, CEO and Managing Director of MZeta Congressi, the PCO, the conference organizer. I'm based here in Milan, and thank you, Khosrow, for inviting me to attend this meeting.
Thank you very much. So Professor Song and Stefano are going to give us an update on the Seoul conference, upcoming conference, and all of the exciting planning that's going underway. So thank you for joining us. So if we don't have any others to be introduced, we can actually start with our presentations. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to try to be quick, about 15, 20 minutes, telling you about IFCC. Well, the IFCC is not new to this group, but I'm going to tell you give you an update about what's happening with IFCC. And then this could perhaps help with the open forum later on if you have questions about the specific programs. Also, how best to work together further and increase collaboration with countries across Asia Pacific. So IFCC, as you know, is a large international organization. It's actually the largest organization in the field of laboratory medicine. and currently has 6 regional federations. So Asia Pacific, which is shown here, is one of 6 federations, is actually one of the largest federations we have in IFCC. And so this is today's town hall. We actually, last month, about a month ago, we had a nice town hall with European Federation, African Federation, and Arab Federation. And that went extremely well as well.
You want to look?
Hello? So we had a very good turnout as well, a high number of attendees. We show great interest in this kind of town hall open forum discussion. I'm happy to tell you that we already have organized the last town hall for this year is going to be with North America and South America, Central America, Collabiocli and North American Federation. That's scheduled for November 8th. Everyone is welcome to attend. You don't have to be from that region. So if anyone is interested, any of these town halls are fully open to attend. So that will be on November 8th, coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm happy to tell you that IFCC board has recommended that these town halls continue annually. So we're going to have town halls every fall over the coming years. So this is not just a one-time event. This is sort of inaugural event. We're hoping to have annual events with you. So an annual Asia Pacific town hall every year over the coming years. So moving on, IFCC currently has 95 full member countries, and that's in 6 regions. Our affiliate numbers have gone up. We're now 19 affiliate members in several countries. And these are the regional federations that I talked about. And I'm happy to tell you that we have now increased our numbers. We have 50 corporate members. Actually, 1 or 2 other corporate member applications have been submitted. So the numbers are continuing to go up. So we have had several new corporate members just in the last year. So there is a strong, and this is a list of all the corporate members. Actually, it's not a complete list, but it just shows you the broad support of IFCC organization by the corporate members. And we have a strong collaboration between IFCC organization and corporate members. I see them as part of the family. So a family of scientists and corporate representatives and manufacturers who are really working together toward the same goal, which is improving healthcare excellence and supporting patient care, supporting public health. Now, I should mention, we also had a very successful town hall with corporate members. So, and we had quite a good turnout. The last number I saw, we had 160 corporate representatives and others from those companies attend the town hall we had on September 21st, which Joseph actually moderated. And we thought it went quite well. So again, we're trying to have the same type of communication, not just with the various national societies, but also with our corporate members. Now, IFCC, as you know, is a worldwide non-political organization in the field of clinical chemistry and laboratory medicine. The main objectives and sort of long-term objectives of this organization is to establish standards at a global level to support members through scientific programs, educational programs, and others, and provide a series of congresses and conferences, basically to bring people together, to enhance communication across the different societies and members of societies from many parts of the world. Also, of course, communication with our industry colleagues. So this can only be possible through these international congresses, and we'll talk about those. Many of you might know, but I want to let you know that a little bit about the IFCC history. The IFCC was actually this coming year in 2022, we will be celebrating our 70th year. So IFCC was founded in 1952 in Paris. Initially, it was called International Association of Clinical Biochemists. This was later renamed to IFCC in Brussels in 1955. So the organization has been very active for almost 70 years and continue to grow over these many decades. So has a long history with a long history of contributions around the world. This is the IFCC's structure. For those who are not familiar, our organization is governed by the council. And who's the council? It's you. It's the national societies. So the 95 national societies form the IFCC council. So IFCC executive board, all of us, report to the council, and we consult council with any major change in IFCC mission or organization. And we have actually a council meeting scheduled in Munich coming up in a month from now. Hopefully, many of you are able to travel to Munich. I know that we already have some registrations from Asia, so hopefully we will have some of you there. We will have a council meeting on Sunday, I believe is 28th of November. And so this council was supposed to be held more than a year ago. It's been postponed, of course, because of the pandemic. But happy to tell you that there will be a council meeting. It would be hybrid, so which means those who can attend in person. Those who cannot will be able to connect via a link, a web link that will be provided. The IFCC Executive Board therefore reports to the Council, but it governs the day-to-day activities of IFCC, and we have a number of committees and divisions. Most of the work is done in the divisions, the scientific division being the largest, the education management division, the communication and publication division, and the new division developed a few years ago, emerging technologies division. Because of time, I won't have time to talk to you about all of these divisions, but all of this information is available on the IFCC website. All you have to do is go and visit each of these divisions and you see who is involved. We have hundreds and hundreds of scientists who are working in these 4 divisions on several committees, working groups, and also we have a number of task forces, and they are all focusing on a number of important projects. Now, this is the current executive board membership. Some of them are with us today. Those who weren't, who are not present, I want to introduce is Okesina, representing the African Federation, and Anna Lena, representing Kolabiokli. Actually, Stephen was with us, but we never, did we introduce Stephen? I'm not sure. Is this, Steve, are you with us still?
I am back. I'm sorry I dropped out, but I am.
Oh, maybe that's what happened.
I'm with you all along.
Okay, sorry. Well, somehow we missed you. So
yeah, no problem.
Okay,
all right.
Okesina is, as I mentioned, is our representative from the African Federation. Thanks for joining us. Stephen Hill is from North American Federation, representing U.S. and Canada on the IFCC board. So thanks, Stephen, for getting up this or staying up this late. So moving on, the IFCC board has been meeting for the last more than a year and trying to come up with a new strategic plan. And I wanted to share with you some of the key objectives of this plan. The new vision and mission for IFCC is to focus on directly impacting healthcare delivery and patient outcomes, directly contributing to global lab quality, developing the evidence on value and impact of lab medicine in healthcare, and made in a major way expanding e-learning and distance learning around the world. Now, there are a number of other projects, but these are the main objectives. But before we do any of this, we had to deal with the pandemic. And as you know, the pandemic started spring of, at least most around the world, it started early 2020, so about 18, 19 months ago. And this definitely had a major impact on IFCC's function. So the first thing we did is we formed a task force, IFCC Task Force on COVID-19. And this task force had been very active, developing practice guidelines and publishing them. And these are some of the practice guidelines that have been successfully published. And I'm happy to tell you, many countries are telling me that they're actually using these documents that IFCC has published over the last year to help with their labs testing and support of public health units in their country. So it has been quite an active task force, and I want to thank the task force members who published more than 7 articles thus far on various guidelines. We also have had webinars on COVID-19. Several months ago, we had several webinars on this, as well as last year. And another thing we did is we had a conference. As you know, we actually organized the COVID-19 virtual conference, which was very successful. We had over 3,000 attendees, and we had a very strong international faculty as well. One last thing is that we developed very early on in March of 2020 an online resource to be able to provide information on COVID-19, not just the diagnostic testing, but all other aspects of the management of COVID-19 patients. And this is still being updated. So I would like to invite you to visit the IFCC website if you're not aware already. This is the information guide. I mentioned the IFCC information guide on COVID-19. So please visit if you haven't already done so. And these are the documents that have been published thanks to close collaboration with Dr. Mario Plebani. We were able to publish these in CCLM, Clinical Chemistry and Laboratory Medicine. Guidelines on lab biosafety, molecular diagnosis, serological diagnosis, biochemical hematological monitoring, and rapid antigen testing. Now, going back to this, so after dealing with the pandemic through that task force and many activities, we have returned to focus on some of our strategic aims, and I wanted to show particularly focus on some of the key programs that have been started. First, to directly impact healthcare and patient outcomes, we began a task force working on global newborn screening. I'm not sure if you're aware, but 70% of newborns around the world are not screened. Only about 30% are screened. So there is a huge gap in the area of global newborn screening. And so there is a lot that IFCC could do to assist this. We began a collaboration with the International Society of Newborn Screening, and we have formed a joint task force. And that task force has already begun its activity and trying to identify countries to start programs in the area of newborn screening. So this work has started. Directly contributing global lab quality, we are also a task force to look at how to assist countries with both internal QC and external QC. This is particularly for developing countries that do not have elaborate systems in place. And I'll give you an update on that. There is also been a major expansion of our e-learning programs. I'm sure you have seen all the live webinars IFCC is now providing, but we're also planning to do more, like e-courses, workshops, practical workshop, hands-on workshop, that sort of thing. So more coming. Now, I've already told you about global newborn screening program. This is the task force that was formed. I wanted to show you is headed by Professor Leon Pinedo of the US and Professor Bonham, who's also from the International Society of Newborn Screening. So it's a joint effort. They chair this task force, and they have already started a survey, and they're trying to select a country, one or more countries, to start this program with. So a global survey has been completed. There's been a discussion and to start collaboration with CDC, CLSI, and AACC. The reason is that they're all also interested in newborn screening, and some of them already have active programs. Also, we've been trying to select countries for a first pilot project. And as you see, we have representation on this from around the world. And really, the criteria for selecting these members was that they all have experience and expertise in the area of newborn screening and related areas. Another important focus is improving quality of lab testing around the world. And so both analytical quality, but also post-analytical quality. So IQC, EQA, but also reference intervals. So I'm happy to tell you that a task force was formed to focus on this. And recently we have a new task force focusing on reference intervals. And so all aspects of lab quality being trying to address. So the idea is that the IFCC will eventually provide a EQA support to many countries, and this would be in association with IQC training and both virtual as well as on the ground, eventually providing training to a number of these countries. Sorry for the interruption. So going back, basically we're trying to provide support to countries around the world that need it. And I'm happy to tell you good progress has been made. This is the task force that was formed a year ago. It's chaired by Professor Aman from Germany and Professor Ming from the US. And they have actually already done a worldwide survey. They have selected 10 countries in Eastern Europe, countries in Africa, in Asia, and in Latin America to start an EQA program. And the pilot project is about to begin, but we needed to find a corporate partner. So we issued a call for proposal from various industry colleagues, and we have actually received several, and we are almost near a final decision to select a partner, and then the program can start. So I expect the program will start either later this fall or early next year, the first pilot with 10 countries. So this is where we will be sending both IQC material and EQA material. We're also providing training and so on. Eventually, we'll hope to make this a more permanent program after the initial pilot program. Another area that, as I mentioned, related to quality is reference intervals. And what we're trying to do is develop a global reference interval database so that IFCC becomes the largest resource, online resource for reference interval. So if a student or a lab professional or a physician or even a family member or a patient looking for reference intervals for any test, they could go to one site, and that is IFCC database. So this is ambitious, but it is really important to develop. And a task force has just been formed. It's going to be chaired by Professor Zirk from Germany, and we have very strong members from all over the world who are going to start this work. Actually, their first meeting is in Munich next month. So the work is already starting on this. We actually already have developed a website for this program, and that website will be announced in the near future. So two more things before I close. One is the e-learning or distance learning program. We think that IFCC should be an important provider of free e-learning, distance learning programs globally. And using the newer technologies, Zoom type technologies, it is becoming easier to reach more and more people. And the focus is on developing countries, young scientists, students, trainees. And as you know, our live series began about a year ago. Initially, we had a pilot program, but that now has become a permanent program. We formed a task force to develop new webinars, and I'm happy to tell you that multiple webinars have been developed and delivered. Even this month, we have 3 webinars that will be presented. There is actually one later today, and then there are more coming. So this program is becoming very successful. The most interesting thing is that the success, we are reaching as many as, I think, 5,000 attendees at one time, where they're attending the webinar live from over 100 different countries. So that just shows that this type of strategy works, and it's very inexpensive. And we can reach a lot of people. The second important feature of this program is that we have very international faculty. So like, for example, today's webinar, I think, is on ethics. We have speakers from Argentina, from US, and from Australia. So the new technologies are allowing us to have not only an international audience, but also have an international speakers who can talk live from multiple parts of the world. So again, I think become very successful, and there is more work to be done to make this a stronger program. One last thing is that we like to really promote lab medicine and develop the evidence for the important role of lab medicine in healthcare and healthcare delivery. And this, another task force is starting. It's not finalized yet, but will be starting soon to focus on this. But because of, I don't want to take too much time, I'm going to stop there and just tell you about our conferences. Well, we have several conferences coming up. As you know, the Euromed Lab Congress is in Munich in 1 month from now. And so I'm hoping that many of you are able to attend. This is actually more information provided on this slide. So the Euromed Lab 2021 organized by IFCC and EFLM together. This will be, I think, has a very strong scientific program. I'm happy to tell you that we have more than 2,000 people who have registered to come to Munich in person, and these numbers are growing every day. So we expect thousands of people present. So if you haven't registered, please do so. I know that some of you will have travel restrictions, but if you can attend, please do so. in person. Now, I should mention also that we have a hybrid option that will be announced very shortly, today or tomorrow, where we will be providing a link to an option to register to connect virtually to some of the key symposia, not the entire conference, but all of the plenary sessions and some of the key symposia will be available to be accessed online with a small registration fee. That will be announced shortly. So we will have a strong physical conference with thousands of people in Munich, but also hopefully thousands of people online. Hopefully we'll get a good turnout virtually as well. So this is happening, and I'm happy. I have to say also, we have to thank our corporate sponsors and exhibitors. There have been a very strong support, and so there will be the conference is expected to be very successful financially as well. And then, of course, our Seoul conference that's coming up next year, that's more related to your Asia Pacific Federation, is actually, I'm happy to tell you that this conference will be held jointly with Asia Pacific Federation. Fortunately, IFCC, the Korean Society, and Asia Pacific Federation came to an agreement to hold a joint conference next year. So end of June 2022. And you will hear more about this from Professor Song as well as from Stefano. So I'll stop there and thank you for listening. I hope I didn't take too much time, but we can move on to Alex, please. There will be time for questions later, but yeah, Suni, please go ahead.
Thank you, Khosrow, for that overview of the activities, the breadth and the scope of the activities. APFCB is, delighted to be able to be directly plugged in now to the IFCC and to benefit from many of these activities. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
As we move, we now have Treasurer Alex, who is going to give us a brief presentation on the financial aspects of the IFCC. Alex, do you have a set of slides? Yes.
Thank you, Samuel, for the introduction. I will try to share my screen, first of all, and make a short presentation because, as you know, IFCC, in order to fulfill all their aims, they need financial support that is obtained via our members, either scientific societies or the corporate members that generally help them tasks of IFCC. So this is my report for the first 9 months of 2021. And during this period, with the help and the assistance of the IFCC office, we collected, after invoicing the majority of the fees of full affiliate and corporate member. We checked the adherence of operating units of IFCC to their budget allocation, and we kept detailed records of all transactions. Reimbursement, unfortunately, at the beginning of the year was impossible. It was the time that our bankers validated our credentials of our presidents and me, but now everything it is working perfectly, and we are continuing to monitor the investments and the financial return of all activities of IFCC. And the annual accounts and the financial actions of 2022 have been reviewed by an external independent auditor, and we have the final expenses and income of the last year. So this is the summary of income. You see that in the budget of 2021, we expect to have at the end of the year 1,750,000 Swiss francs, as we are budgeting always in Swiss francs. But for the moment, we have already collected 1,010,000 euros. And you see here the comparison between the budgeted amounts in blue and the collected until now. You see we are missing the profit of Euromed Lab because has been rescheduled from the mid-fall to the end of this year and November. But we had a good return of the IFCC COVID virtual conference and also from the membership use of our members. So in reality, we are not lagging, but maybe we are better than expected in the budgeting. Here you see the expenses, and you see that normally the budget has a provision for a little more than 2.5 million Swiss francs. In reality, we are much less because for the moment we don't have either the expenses of Euromed Lab, but mostly, unfortunately, travel costs of all officers and meeting of the various IFCC units has been cut down because of the pandemic and the travel restriction. So the summary, for the moment, we expected at mid-year to have a deficit, but in reality we have an excedent, and it's good for IFCC, and we have money that will help us of the organization of the new tasks, the new task forces, the educational or the training programs, as the EQA program that just our president presented. And our investment that were this amount for the end of 2019, at the end of 2020 it was 3,800,000, and just at the end of August it was a little more than 4,300,000 Swiss francs for this year. So I hope that I haven't bothered so much with the number, but it's also an important thing for the IFCC functioning. And thank you for your attention. And I pass the stream to Sunil to continue this counter.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Khosrow, as well for the earlier presentation. Let me now steal a few minutes of our precious time and to in turn cover my aspect of the APFCB. I take a few minutes now to share the APFCB with firstly all of us in the Asia Pacific region, our audience, member societies, members, participants. I also want to take this opportunity to share the APFCB with the IFCC-EB and with my regional federation colleagues. I will do this fairly quickly, just as a high-level overview of what the APFCB is about and what we've done over the last year, in just a very few slides. So this is the APFCB. I trust you can see the slides which I'm sharing. We are 42 years old. We've got 18 ordinary members, 16 affiliate, and 22 corporate members. Much of our activity now depends on corporate support, very much, like a microcosm of the IFCC. We function in a similar way. Now, the difference, I think, in the APFCB is that we are 4.3 billion population in a global population of 7.7 B, which puts us at 56% of the entire global population. So we are big in terms of size, but we are different in the sense that we are very diverse in practice standards, in language, in culture, and in the way lab medicine is practiced. So for APFCB, the lesson we have is the lesser developed countries learn from the more developed countries within the APFCB, and the more developed APFCB countries then learn from the even better developed regional federations within the IFCC, allowing us to then benefit at multiple levels. Corporate members, we need to acknowledge them. Without them, and without Alex, my corporate member rep in the EB, very little gets done because resources are a big issue in my part of the world. I won't go through the various bits. We've introduced our board. We've introduced the committee chairs. I'll just skip through this. I want to say that we have a very active website. I must thank Dr. Raja Elena, the chair of my communications committee. As you can see, this is the apfcb.org website. You'll go in and you'll have wonderful exposure to all the different activities which we do. And I also want to highlight a uniquely Asian APFCB newsletter. Now, despite the pandemic in 2021, I'm delighted to say that the communications team has put up 2 newsletters. You can see the front cover of a very nice calligraphic painting by our founding president, who gives us all this, and this is issue number 2. So despite all that has happened, we've managed to come up with 2 issues of the APFCB newsletter. It is about a 70-page strong newsletter full of scientific content, full of information, full of education, full of networking information. I urge everyone within the APFCB and outside the APFCB to look at our newsletter. It is something which we are very proud of. Some of the activities, as we are speaking now, we are in the midst of a cooperation with BD on a pre-analytical masterclass. This is the schedule. As you can see, we are right in the midst of mid-October. We've got 2 more sessions where we have a whole series of aspects of pre-analytics. And I want to thank 2 of my EB and chair members, Endang Hoyaranda and Tony Badrick, for steering this with BD. Very quickly, a rough run through of what my different committees. This is under Tony's, the Education and Lab Management Committee. This is some of the activities in the various countries. You know, in Vietnam with AACC, global initiatives, and so on and so forth. You know, just a quick highlight. Webinars, plenty of webinars, which we have been involved in with individual societies, with corporate members, and on various aspects from what you can see here. And all this in the recent past as well. A further listing with some of our other corporate members and our conferences, which you can see. Finally, I want to say that there's an appeal in the sense that with the Munich meeting, there is a pre-Congress activity. This is the International Congress of Pediatric Laboratory Medicine, and I've been told that there are a whole series of scholarships with free registration available for APFCB members. Since it's virtual, those who are interested, particularly as what Khosrow has said, newborn screening, the use of tandem mass spec, etc., go take a snapshot of this, go and visit the website, try and get yourself registered. It's a wonderful opportunity for free registration. So with that high-level overview, I thank you very much for your attention. For those within the APFCB, please stay engaged with your national society and then stay engaged with the APFCB. And then through the APFCB, engagement to the IFCC becomes a natural and a given. And, you know, with that, I want to move on now to the next item in the agenda, I would like to invite two important people to explain the next event, which is an IFCC APFCB event to be held in late June 2022 in Seoul, Korea. All right, Korea has, you know, in many parts of the world, taken the world by storm, particularly with its alliance with Netflix. And I'm wondering whether many of my APFCB as well as my IFCC members have heard of this term known as Squid Game. If you have, then you know Korea. If you don't, perhaps Jung-han explain what Squid Game is. The Korean pop culture, the sing, the dancing, the series have actually taken the world by storm. And I'm sure in 8 months' time, we possibly could have a very successful physical meeting at the joint IFCC World Lab APFCB Congress in Seoul, Korea. So without further ado, allow me now to stop sharing and to allow both Stefano as well as Professor Jung-han Song to have some airtime to tell us about this exciting event in the next few months. Stefano, Jung-han, it's all yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, President Adeli and Seti, for inviting me to Townhall and giving me an opportunity to share the preparative status of IFCC World Rep Congress. As already announced, 21st IFCC World Rep Seoul will be held jointly with the 16th APFCB Congress in June 2022. The IFCC and APFCB has agreed that a joint conference would be more attractive and beneficial for both conference delegates and corporate sponsors, and will ensure wider participation from laboratory professionals and industry partners across Asia Pacific and all around the world. I would like to inform you of the agreement between IFCC and APFCB on the scientific program. Organize Committee and Scientific Program Committee have agreed one plenary lecture and 2 symposia of the existing scientific program will be labeled as APFCB sessions. We looked closely at all the programs and chose sessions consisting of speakers, many from Asia Pacific region, because we thought it would be suitable for the APFCB. We'll announce the fixed 1 plenary lecture and 2 symposia sooner or later. And I think many people are interested in COVID-19 pandemic situation in Korea. Now we have around 1,500 new confirmed cases every day, and more than 67% of population were vaccinated. Recently, the government launched a new government-private sector committee to draw a roadmap for the post-pandemic transition to normalcy by the end of this month. If the vaccination rate exceeds 80% by the end of this year, Korea will apply the relaxed social distancing measure. That means by June of the next year, IFCC World Rep Seoul and APFCB Congress will be able to be held normally like Euromedlab Munich. So I'd like to ask APFCB national representatives to encourage more laboratory professionals from each country to attend the Congress in person. We'll make concerted efforts to go smoothly this Congress. Thank you for your continuous interest and cooperation. So more detailed information on the Congress will be presented by Stefano from MZ Congress. Stefano, please.
Yes, thank you, Jung-han. Welcome back, everybody. Good morning and good evening to most of you. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, we start this brief presentation and update on the Congress status. Okay, the first important thing are these two dates, the two deadlines for registration and for submitting the abstract. The deadline for the abstract submission is the 15th of January, while the deadline for the registration fee with the earlier reduced registration fee is the last day of March 2022. Breaking news, you have already heard. It has been decided that the 16th Asian Pacific Congress, originally scheduled in Australia, will be held jointly with the World Lab Congress Seoul. And as Jungan said a few minutes ago, one plenary session and two scientific symposia will be labeled as APFCB session. Here there is a very quick presentation of the Congress Center with the three maps. We have three different levels. There is, let's say, ground floor where we have the exhibition area, that is this pink pavilion B1 and B2. Then here we have 5 parallel session room, 101, 102, 103, 104, and 105. And in this area, we have the registration desk and the institutional stands from IFCC, Korean Society, and Asian Pacific Society. At the upper level, in this area, we have several small meeting rooms for what we call closed meeting rooms from IFCC and KSCC. And on the upper floor, we have the auditorium where all the plenary and main session will be held. Okay, here there is a quick update on the status of the sponsorship received so far. As you can imagine, most of them applied before the pandemic, but they already confirmed us their presence even with the new date, and we are receiving more sponsors, and we hope to get more and more from now till May 2022. As you can see, we have 2 platinum sponsors so far, 5 gold, 1 silver, and several bronze sponsors, plus many other companies that applied as an exhibitor. And the situation is updated as of 15th of October, but for sure will increase. This one is an overview of the exhibition pavilion. As I said before, close to the entrance, we will have the exhibition area and the institutional stands. Then you can see all the pink stands are sold. The stand still available are those marked with a red perimeter. Here we have the poster area and even a coffee break and restoration area for our participants. And here you can see the 5 parallel rooms you saw previously on the other map. Okay, as I said, the deadline for the registration fee is the end of March. You can see here the fee before the deadline. We have 3 categories: full registration, young registration, and technicians from Korea, and daily registration. After the deadline, the fees will become this one. And then on site, the fee will increase even more. I think that even like we are doing now for Munich, we are trying to, even for, let's say, COVID, not restriction, but COVID situation, we are encouraging people to register before the Congress and not on site, but we will see how it works later on. Okay, as of today, we already received 382 registration, 121 from individual, and the rest from sponsor and corporate. This number for sure will grow in the next month. Okay, now we have opened again the abstract submission system. Before the pandemic, we received about more than 800 abstracts. Then some of them decided to withdraw for different reasons, but 745 confirmed that the abstract submitted previously is still valid and okay for the new dates. So now we hope to receive even more and more within the deadline of the 15th of January. And here there is the week agenda, an overview of the time schedule, Congress time schedule. We start with the Sunday with the opening ceremony and the welcome party. Then we have 3 full days plus the last day that is only half day. We have in the morning from 9 to 11, 6 parallel symposia. Then there is a break, our main plenary lecture, and there is nothing else in parallel, so that everybody or most of the people can join the plenary. Then there is a break for the lunch, and in the afternoon, mostly we have the educational workshop sponsored by the companies that are those in red here, plus some other symposia from IFCC, Congress, and Korean. So this is Monday, this is Tuesday the same, and Wednesday. And then on the last day, we have just the parallel symposia, our last plenary lecture, and the closing ceremony. As I say, now the scientific committee is deciding which of the plenary lecture and 2 of the symposia will be labeled as a Asian-Pacific session and plenary lecture. Okay, this I'm almost finished. Few technical information. If some of you, company sponsor, need accommodation on site, we signed an agreement with this local partner. They are updating the website, and shortly you will see all the list of hotels available and rates. More information are available here on the Congress website, and that is 90% updated. We are still waiting to publish the updated scientific program due to some few issues to be solved, but this will be done shortly. You can see here all the emails and contact details for any specific argument, general information, or if you want to, if you need information about abstract only, you can write here, and so for the other items. And so I only have to conclude and saying that we look forward to seeing you all in Seoul next year. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Stefano.
Thank you, Stefano. Thank you, Junghan. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, we've now come to the stage where we would like to encourage some healthy discussion, interaction. It's a rare privilege to have, you know, the IFCC board and regional sort of representatives with us. For those of us who are on the platform and able to speak, then please, by all means, you know, unmute your mic and share your views. If you cannot, please type them in. I will work back end with Sylvia Colilensi and will read out your question or your comment for discussion. So while you all are thinking about things, I would like to open the initial discussion to Khosrow and anyone in the panel for thoughts, comments, suggestions. The floor is open, please.
So Neil, before we start the questioning, I forgot to introduce our office staff, which is really important in Milan. So I would like to take this opportunity before we start questions to introduce them. Paola, would you like to start?
Hello, hi, I'm glad to be here with you. Nice to meet you all again. Thank you, bye-bye.
So Paola is our office manager who's managing the office here in Milan, and we have 3 other staff members. Sylvia, please go ahead.
Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Silvia Colilensi, and I'm working for IFCC from the Milan main office. Thank you, and welcome again.
Thank you. And Silvia Cardinale, please.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening to all. I'm also based in the IFCC office in Milan. I'm in charge of the MD and of the IFCC. I'm happy to be here today. Welcome to you and thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. And our new staff member, Esmeralda, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm new in the IFCC office. I'm learning all about it. I'm so excited to be here today, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Esmeralda. So the four of them are really running this huge organization, as you know, with a lot of new activities. So IFCC office is very busy, and we're keeping them busy with these new programs. So we may be adding additional staff. We're actually reviewing that this fall to see if additional staffing is needed. But certainly, it's important for you to know who's in Milan to support all of you, because you're all part of the same family, all of the Asia Pacific countries, and of course the Federation. So if you need any support, you know who to contact. Okay, so Neil, so we can go back to our open forum and discussion. Are there any questions in the chat that we can start answering?
Okay, there are no questions at the moment.
So any questions from the people online, please go ahead. About any of the, whatever you heard from IFCC, from APFCB, about the Congress, any questions? Must have been very clear, because not many questions coming up, which is sometimes a good news. But please share with us any thoughts, any ideas, anything, any new idea you have for new programs. Also, comments on programs that have started recently. Do you think do you have concerns, or do you have additional suggestions? Feel free. We have time to spend at least an hour to discuss.
May I start, Khosrow?
No, please, Endang, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for showing up late. I had problems with the link. But my suggestion is like this. We, in our regions, not just the APFCB, we have our regional programs, like what Sunil just also told us, that we in APFCB now have the analytical webinar, which is a series of 6 webinars fortnightly, which is now has finished its 4th webinar. And this is in English. I recognize that we need to have also not just English versions, but also other versions. So we, Tony Bedrick, me, and the sponsor from BD have been talking about the possibility of translating the English version with a running text or anything, subtitles, in our regional languages available in the APFCB. And now I'm thinking that perhaps the IFCC would also like to have access to the webinars, and also would like to translate the webinars into regional languages available in the other regions, like the Arab countries, like the African countries, and most preferably perhaps in Spanish. And this is not only for the APFCB webinars, but we are sure that other regions have their beautiful programs as well, which can be available, which can be made available to other regions with the same idea of translating.
Thank you, Endang. I think that's an excellent idea. I should say that we are already doing that. There's several webinars recently were translated into Spanish. So those that were presented by Latin American speakers or other speakers have been translated we actually have a translator in Argentina who translates to Spanish. Also, at least one, maybe 2 webinars presented by colleagues in China were translated into Chinese. So there is precedence for this, and therefore, and we would support that and happy to help if there are other languages where translation you think would be useful to reach a greater number of people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khosrow. Thanks for the question, Endang. Let's move on. I have one comment and one question, which I will read for the IFCCEB. The first comment is this: hello, I just want to congratulate you for everything you do. A very good initiative for the webinar, Khosrow. So yeah, someone likes the webinar, and I suspect trying to say that, yes, please continue with this. And I know you said this will be something you hope to do on a yearly basis. So it's appreciated. The question which I have, Khosrow, is this. Given the large Asian population globally, perhaps there can be a conscious effort to ensure regional representation in the various work groups and committees to ensure regional interests and challenges are represented and considered.
Certainly. Actually, we have made an effort recently with all of the new task forces that have been formed to have a strong Asian representation. So if you look at the task force on newborn screening, the task force on quality and others, we have representation from India, from China, and sometimes from other countries, Singapore. So I think, and Australia as well. And so I think we have definitely, of course, the selection criteria usually is based on the person's expertise and background and relevance to the topic, the mission of that task force. But as much as possible, IFCC has always tried to have good distribution of regional representation. And so when as I remember, all of the recent task forces, including we just formed a reference interval, global reference interval database task force, and we have good Asian representation. So I think the IFCC definitely tries to distribute, but it's important at the same time to ensure that you have the right people with the right expertise to ensure the productivity of the task force. But happy to tell you that, like Professor Sikaris from Australia, it's been selected to serve on the reference interval task force, that sort of thing. So we have tried as much as possible to have good representation. Any other questions or comments?
Yes. Well, thank you for the reassurance, Khosrow, for considering all regions. I have one more question in. Thank you for the QC EQA initiative. I think this is the Global Task Force. The question is, will there be an educational component as well? The aim would be to teach the principles of QC, EQA, and how to troubleshoot problems revealed by QC and EQA.
Certainly. When I initially proposed this idea, actually together with some colleagues in IFCC, we came up with this idea. Our idea was to send, this was before the pandemic, was to send tag teams to these countries, 2 or 3 people who will spend 2-3 weeks actually doing education, both for IQC and EQA, on-the-ground training, in addition to, of course, sending them samples. And we're also going to be sending software, QC software, that sort of thing. So, but because of the pandemic, everything got delayed. But definitely, education and training is part of the program. The idea is that to do both, now that we have more ability to do remote training, to do both, to send a couple of people to spend a week or 2 training people on the ground, and then follow that with additional online training and monitoring as well over time. So, at the same time, support them with material like QC material, but also support them with QC software. If they need computers, we will provide computers. So it's a combination of both training and resources that we will provide.
So as a follow-up, Khosrow, will the APFCB be involved with the support of the QC EQA program in the Asia Pacific region? This was a follow-up question.
You're welcome to get involved. Really, every federation is welcome to work with IFCC to perhaps enhance this program further. So let's say we have selected, I believe, 3 countries in Asia, I believe, who are part of the pilot. And they will be starting the program in the next couple of months. So if APFCB would like to get involved and perhaps help with the training or help in any other way, definitely, we welcome that. Same thing, actually, Anna Maria, with Europe. Like we have a couple of countries selected in Eastern Europe, but maybe EFLM is interested in partner with IFCC and actually enhance that further and do more countries in Eastern Europe. So, you know, the door is open for collaboration whenever there is interest. Do we have any questions in the chat, Sunil?
Yes.
No, I'm waiting.
I think there is one question in the chat, Khosrow.
Oh, okay. Which one is that?
Thank you for all the programs members.
Is there on the corresponding? Thank you for all the programs. Members nominated as corresponding members are not actively involved. How can this be overcome?
No, that's a good question. No, others can comment actually from the board, but because of the new technology, the Zoom technology, the video conferencing, actually now it doesn't matter whether you're a full member or a corresponding member, you're invited to every meeting and you can participate and provide comments and, participate in the discussion, in the documents that are prepared, participate in writing those documents. So corresponding members can almost function as full members. The only difference really is that full members are supported for travel once a year to a conference. Corresponding members do not have travel support. But other than that, because of the fact that we haven't had any physical meetings, it's been all online, corresponding members can participate as well as anyone else. So therefore, I actually recommend that corresponding members try to be active, because what happens if you're a corresponding member and you're active, you most likely will be elected to serve as a full member in a year or two after. So you'll be brought in as a full member later on. If you are found to be very productive, very helpful, you're actively participating in the discussions. So it's an opportunity for a corresponding member to show activity, show interest, and then they're going to see themselves promoted very quickly. Not only as a member, but potentially as a chair. So I think the opportunity is limitless. One is starting as a corresponding member, depending on the level of activity you have, you could see a significant, I mean, I myself joined initially, just as a member and gradually, was able to get more involved in IFCC function. So therefore, I think we all need to start somewhere. So corresponding membership is a good starting opportunity.
Maybe I can add a little bit to this, Khosrow, if I could. This question comes up to me as the corporate representative from corporations that want to participate in committees, working groups, task forces. And it's very, very simple. I know this happens, but at least in my experience, it only involves a short email to the chair of these various groups and to a message from the IFCC office that we would like to nominate this individual as a corresponding member, and the IFCC office immediately takes care of this. And then I suggest either I send the email to the chair or the person wanting to be the corresponding member send it to the chair. But it's often that the chair is not aware that somebody is interested to participate. Once they are aware as a corresponding member, it works just fine, and they are included in the minutes, they're included in invitations. Now, I have to say, and I'll be very transparent, there are occasionally the need to remind the chair that somebody is serving as a corresponding member. But again, it's a very, very simple email. Hey, you know what? I do you remember me? Or I didn't seem to get the minutes. So it works very, very well. And I think it's just a direct dialogue between that individual that's interested to participate, going through the IFCC office, and then following it up with an email for the chair. And the chair's email and contact information you can find on the IFCC website.
Exactly. And actually, all corresponding members are listed on the IFCC website, so they are visible. But I think one thing we can do is our office staff can make sure that all corresponding members are copied. Let's say when you're arranging a meeting of the task force or a committee, that the corresponding members are always copied and invited so that they actually can participate. So we can try to ensure that that happens every time with every meeting that corresponding members are included. I think sometimes maybe in the past, because meetings of the committee or task force was held in person and corresponding members were not invited because travel is not supported. But that's not the case anymore. With a lot of the meetings are remote and virtual. So therefore, we should always invite all of our corresponding members. But I wanted to show you an example just of a new task force that was just formed, that how we actually handle this. Just give me a second. I'm going to go to the IFCC website and show you an example of what I mean. Like the Global Reference Institute Task Force that I mentioned, I just wanted to show you okay, I'm going to now share my screen. So this is the task force membership. So you can see the task force membership, again, we try to have a very good distribution. You know, we have Germany, US, Turkey, China. No, that's actually Chile, Russia, Sweden, Australia, Canada, Germany, US, and Turkey. But as you can see, we have a list of corresponding members are always listed as well, and their affiliation. So we have corresponding members for several Asian countries here, like Japan, Philippines, Pakistan, India, elsewhere. So I think corresponding members are visible, and they are definitely valued. and they should be, if they're not, invited to all meetings.
Thank you, Khosrow. Let me move on and follow up with another very interesting sort of question for you to consider. There are many very informative webinars done. Could we make use of the recorded webinars for our own society?
You mean IFCC webinars or APFCB webinars?
I believe probably the IFCC here.
IFCC. Well,
yes. Are they available for use?
Yes.
Recorded webinars.
Recorded. Actually, just a day or two after the webinar, the recording is available, and it's then put on the IFCC e-Academy. You know, the e-Academy is our e-learning module platform. So if you go to the, even just now, actually, let's go there and show, let me go there. I'm going to go to the IFCC, to the e-Academy and show you what I mean. Just a second, please. Because actually it's good for people to know how to get access. Not everyone visits e-academies, not as, but we maybe need to promote more. But I will just take a second to show you what I mean. Okay, so this is the homepage of IFCC, right? If you go to the homepage, the e-Academy is right here. But I think we should perhaps have a link to the live webinar recordings, maybe a separate link, and maybe we should have a direct link. But if you go to the e-Academy website, you see the live series here. You can actually, you could go further down.
Yes.
Okay, here, live webinar series. So if you click that, you see all these webinars. You can actually listen to all of them. They're all recorded on many topics. And this list is growing very fast.
Yes.
But I think there might be some missing here. But the most recent ones have not been uploaded. But you could see that you could, let's say if you go to risk management, you can see you have 3 different presentations. So you can, this one by Professor Sharma here. And why don't we actually show it? There we go.
Professor Praveen Sharma is a professor of biochemistry and former dean for research at All India Institute of Medical Sciences and an active member of the Association of Clinical Biochemists of India, Asia Pacific Federation of Clinical Biochemistry and Laboratory Medicine, WASPAM, and present chair of the IFCC Committee on Clinical Laboratory Management. Professor Sharma so covers today the process and effective strategy of risk management for the practice in a clinical laboratory. I turn over Professor Sharma to give his talk.
Thank you, Dr. Sadaf. And at the onset, I'm extremely thankful to IFCC for accepting webinar proposed by IFCC CCLM committee. So I would be talking on risk management process in clinical laboratory. And learning objective would be reactive, proactive strategies for risk management, risk assessment stats, risk identification tools, FMEA, PRECAS, likewise. I will not go into this, what is hazard, what is this risk, as the Margi has already covered definition of risk management and risk assessment. So important point is why this risk management is needed in the laboratory also and wherever in different organizations. It is definitely required for the improvement, the safety of the laboratory. It is also required for the improvement of the quality process of the laboratory or organization. It is also required for the improvement in the quality outcome of the product. In case of laboratory, it is a report which is very important for the patient safety. So what are the different strategies in risk management? Risk management strategies could be reactive or they may be proactive. If I talk about the reactive strategies, these are based on accident evaluation and audit-based findings, or to reduce the tendency.
Okay, I'll stop there and just wanted to show you an example, but you can see what I mean. Am I a screen? Did I quit the screen? Did I close it? You don't see it anymore. Excellent. So I just wanted to show you, Sunil, that all of the recordings are already available for free access by everyone. But I think we need to do more promotion around this, and we will.
Good, thank you, Khosrow. Yes, very important.
Thank you.
Alina, I see a hand up from one of our panelists. Raja, Alina, perhaps you could unmute. If you unmute and speak up, I think all of us can hear. Sorry, Alina, we still can't hear you. Can you check your microphone?
Okay.
Check your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, good. Go on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Adeli. We actually have some requests from our members. We noticed that for some webinars, certificates are issued, but not for all. So our members actually request that those webinars that they have attended, they be issued certificates. Is this possible?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Raja, for that question. There should be a certificate for everyone. I'm not sure. Hello? Hello? Mute your line. Okay, thank you. So, Raja, we do try to provide certificates, but I'm asking Sylvia, is there a problem with that? No. No? No. If they do not receive it, they have.
Đúng rồi, quần áo dạ thô của anh em đã lấy về rồi, em để trên giường đó. Tình huống gì đấy vậy? Em đi công tác.
Try mute again. So Raja, apparently everyone should receive a certificate. If they have not, they can simply email Sylvia Colilanzi and she will send them a certificate. I'm happy to tell you also, Raja, we can hear you again, Raja, but yeah, yes. I'm happy to tell you that we're also working to accredit these webinars to provide continuing education credits. Now, Dr. Stephen Hill, who might still be with us, actually has begun planning a program that will be hopefully finalized by the end of this year. So we're hoping by next year, IFCC will develop an accreditation program for webinars, for conferences in countries around the world. So right now, many both societies, but also corporate members ask for IFCC auspices for their meeting. But now we will be able to not only provide auspices, but also potentially accreditation for their meeting. So this program is currently, I didn't mention because of time, but This is in development. We actually are meeting on Monday to discuss this further. So I think soon, not only attendees will receive a certificate, they'll be able to receive educational credits.
That is very good news for us. And thank you also for taking the steps to make conferences hybrid, because I think, especially in this region, we find that it is very useful to attend virtual conferences and webinars. We've benefited a lot from the IFCC programs. So we look forward to the continual, virtual sessions and virtual events. And we hope that also the committee meetings can also be hybrid, so that, if we cannot attend it physically, we can at least participate virtually. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Joe, I'm happy to tell you that indeed these webinars have been more successful than we initially thought. We have an average of 4,000 attendees for each webinar. The most impressive is that they are from over 100 countries. In one case, it was 132 countries attending a webinar. So, I mean, that shows that the potential of this technology. And I think we need to, and I've discussed this with Stefano, who is our PCO, to try to have as much as possible a hybrid option for all future events.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments, questions, Sunil?
Stephen wanted to say something. Dr. Stephen Hill?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Anything to add? I think Khosrow has covered quite a bit.
No, I don't think I have anything to add. Sorry.
Okay. No, good.
Thanks,
yeah.
Khosrow did a fine job.
No, yeah, Stephen is really helping to make that accreditation program possible. So we will be announcing it in the near future.
Also, one more, Fadi. Sorry, someone wanted to say something. Apologies. If not, I would move on to another sort of a question. This is a little bit more specific, everyone. In general, good laboratory practice is anchored by method evaluation, quality control, and EQA. Would there be room for a task force that is focused on method evaluation? That's the question number one. Then IFCC has adopted CLSI documents, but they may not be the easiest to implement on the group resource in the limited setting. And this may be an important pillar for IFCC to consider. So the question is, would the IFCC consider a task force focused on method evaluation to be considered as one of the three pillars in addition to QC and EQA? This was the question, method evaluation.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. We should definitely discuss that. I can take this proposal to our next EB meeting, which is in Munich in a month from now, and discuss with colleagues to see if this is feasible. But I think we have had some interest from corporate members as well, saying, can IFCC provide guidelines on method evaluation? It could be helpful potentially to not only society members and labs around the world, but also corporate colleagues and members. So perhaps we need to discuss this at the board to see if, as you say, a committee or a task force or a working group or something could be established. We'll minute that and take that forward.
Okay, the board is silent at the moment. Any questions, comments from anyone? Yes?
One thing I wanted to mention to everyone, which was, again, I didn't have time to discuss in my presentation, is a new program, another new program we're starting to celebrate the Lab Week by throughout the world, called the Global Lab Medicine Week, and to celebrate global, laboratory medicine at the global level. And so we have formed a working group. This group has been meeting. Endang is a member of that working group from Asia. We have members from elsewhere as well. And we actually just sent a call for nominations. So you would be able to nominate one additional member from Asia Pacific. Every other regional federation hopefully will nominate. This program is just starting. The idea is to celebrate really the role of lab professionals, the critical role of lab professionals in healthcare, but particularly in the last 2 years in public health. During the pandemic, labs have become more visible. It's actually a very good opportunity to highlight the importance of the lab medicine field. So we're hoping to celebrate both the field of lab medicine, but also the people, which is the lab professionals. So this program is being put together as we speak. We actually have a meeting this afternoon. So we have a lot going on. We are actually hiring a company, a media advertising company, to help develop videos and other assets that we can use to promote the program through social media, and I'm hoping, let's say, to have actually a series of presentations in Seoul at the Seoul conference in June, but also at every other event that we have. There will be 1 week in April that will be called IFCC Global Lab Week. But other than that, we like to celebrate throughout the year at every opportunity. Anyways, this program is under development. We'll be sharing it with everyone in the near future. So I thought I'll just add that because I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we felt that there is a gap in the sense that IFCC is not directly involved in, a lab week. Actually, the pathologists, there is this International Pathology Day that's run by, and we actually met with them, and they have given us some advice. We like to collaborate with that pathology group. Also, AACC and the US groups have a very strong program. There are actually 17 societies in the US that collaborate to celebrate the Lab Week in the US. There is a smaller program in Canada. I hear there are a few programs in Europe as well as elsewhere, but they're sort of scattered. But IFCC has never been directly involved, but we're hoping to change that. Any additional questions, Sunil, you see in the chat, or Sylvia? No?
Nothing at the moment.
How many people do we have on the? Yeah, but the passive. Okay. Any additional questions? If not, we can actually close. Anything else, Sunil or your board members want to say?
No, it's almost 5 o'clock where I am. 3 minutes or 2 minutes. I will just perhaps give a few seconds for anyone to either write or say something. And as what Khosrow has suggested, we will plan to close very soon. So anyone with burning questions, issues, now is the time.
Yeah, and ideas, there are things you wanted IFCC to do, and this is an opportunity to table your suggestions and let us know what you think. Actually, I did receive one recommendation from one of your colleagues, Joseph, in Malaysia. Is he based in Malaysia? Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph Lopez, yes, in Kuala Lumpur, yes, Malaysia.
Lopez, who was a previous president of APFCB. And I remember actually when I first got involved in IFCC, I worked closely with Joseph. He was quite active back then. Joseph suggested an interesting idea about, whether IFCC and perhaps APFCB should be doing something about the environment and the impact of labs and, in vitro diagnostic industry on the environment. I wanted to actually, this was a topic I wanted to table at our next EB meeting for discussion, just plenary discussion. Is there a role for us, for our community? Because labs do create a lot of pollution, because we do create a lot of junk. So the question is, what can we do about it? Is there a way we could we form a working group or something to look at this issue? So any comments from the group about this? Any ideas? Maybe starting with Sunil.
Yeah, Khosrow, I'm aware of this. Joseph was passionate about this. We did work on this even at the APFCB level. There are publications which Joe has put out on some early work and attempting to build awareness, on the environmental, the greening, the carbon footprint of laboratory activity. So yes, this is something which is a slightly different angle, which the lab perhaps could look at as well.
I thought that was a neat idea and something to at least discuss at the board. Yeah, certainly we have to see how best, but I think this is also important, Joseph, for the industry to start getting involved in discussion around how best can we reduce the impact or the footprint, the environmental.
Yeah, and I can speak for Roche, but I think all companies are doing this. We are constantly looking at minimizing packaging, minimizing liquid waste, etc., disposables. So I think this is an initiative that all companies have right now, and particularly our company is very much sensitive to the environmental waste that our products create.
Well, that's great to hear.
I'd also like to support that. I think we've got a social responsibility to do something. And I think that laboratories should realise that, in fact, you save money by in fact, adopting an environmental response. So it's not a cost. People think it's a cost. Actually, not only is it good for the community and good for the environment and good for your staff, because I always believe that most staff, they do a lot of this at home. They sort their waste and they're very mindful of what they're doing, but they don't always get that when they go to their employer. So I think there's good things in all sorts of areas. So I think that the IFCC should take a lead.
Thank you, Tony. No, I think this is an important area. Environment, as you know, is in the news everywhere, and more and more governments are paying more attention. I think organizations should be like IFCC, and all of our federations should also start thinking about this and what we can do. Anna Maria, please.
Thank you. On behalf of EFLM, I can say that we are taking some serious considerations about the sustainability. The European Commission has put this very high on the agenda, And we are actually planning a conference which is going to take place in May in next year, 27th to 28th of May. And the conference is going to, the main topic is the green laboratory and laboratory sustainability. And we will be talking about, how laboratories can help reduce the impact on the environment that we have. And the plan is also to form a couple of working groups that will then take the work forward and, maybe formalize some recommendations on that matter. So it is our strategic conference. This EFLM has put this very high on the agenda. Excellent.
Thanks, Anna Maria. It'd be great if EFLM can take the lead on this because it's such an important area. And I know the European Union is very much interested in this kind of activity and focus on environment at all levels, including. Please,
Sorry, yeah. Endang, I think, is in charge of Prodia, which already has a green lab. And I think Joe and Endang wrote a paper together about it. So maybe Endang wants to say something about the green lab that Prodia has.
Sure.
Yeah, we started to have one really green lab in one of our branches. Prodia is an independent laboratory and has more than 300 branches in the country. And one of its branch has been dedicated to be a green lab as to grow the other labs to be also green laboratories. There were some architects, there were some specialists on environments who were describing all the requirements for a green laboratory, and we have tried to practice. We have not been 100% successful. We are still struggling with being real green, and perhaps one day we may want to have a certificate of the International Green Buildings, which is in our vision, but still have to, we have a lot of challenges to go there, and still our dreams.
Thank you, Endang.
Yourself?
Yeah, Abdul Razak, you have.
Thank you. I propose to create a task force of lab environmental.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking, to form some sort of a group, like a task force or a working group, but maybe task force would be the right. It's just that we have formed a lot of task forces recently, but perhaps this is another important topic that requires effort from IFCC, but also working and learning from our federation. So great to hear about what the FLM is planning to do, and also Asia Pacific. Anna, I think you had another point. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a short comment. There is actually, because this lady Endang has mentioned certification, and there is actually already an organization in Europe under the European Commission that gives certifications to laboratories. And they have certified a number of laboratories. Unfortunately, until now, only research laboratories, so not the real, medical laboratories. But the idea for us, EFLM, is somehow to, get connected maybe and have it implemented like the also a certification program for medical laboratories. That would be the idea. Of course, long-term plan. It's not an easy thing to do, but
that could be very popular. I think that's very popular if one can come up with a certificate program to sort of recognize labs that are green. That'd be very interesting. Any other questions, comments? There is one other topic. Oh, is there? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Khosrow, a quick one. This is actually, again, on policy. Question raised. Can an affiliate member, not an ordinary member, but can an affiliate member send an application to organize an international conference under the aegis of IFCC and APFCB? So the question is, can affiliates be recognized with the same privilege to host and organize an international conference under IFCC rules.
Yeah. I'm new to the president position, but my understanding, I'll have to double check, but my understanding is yes, they should be possible. Paola, do you know if there is any, Sylvia knows, okay. Yes, no? So that's written in our bylaws? Is it in the bylaws? Our bylaws.
Are you talking about to host the international
conference? Is it written in our bylaws that it's not only full members? Yes, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm told that by our office staff who are very experienced with with our bylaws that only full members can host these international conferences. But what could happen is that the affiliate could participate. You know, I think there's nothing wrong with that. We just announced, after you may have seen, a call for the 2024 World Lab. And, you know, so a full member society, sometimes more than one full member could actually host. But I don't see any reason why affiliate members cannot join that. Also, of course, from now on, regional federations would always be part of the conference. So as of 24, while we're doing that next year with Asia Pacific Federation, but as of 24 also, the regional federation and the local society will co-host the conference so that we have basically bring everybody together. Any other questions? If not, I wanted to let you know about one other item that, before I forget, and that is that there was a proposal from actually our European colleagues about starting discussion around accessibility to in vitro diagnostics. Currently, many countries are experiencing difficulty accessing IVD, like testing, for example, for COVID-19, like both because of cost, but because of accessibility and transportation and so on. So we have actually a meeting we're organizing in Munich during the EuroMedLab conference to discuss this. Again, this might require another functional group to start discussing this with corporate representation. So I believe we're having a meeting, Joseph, at the EuroMedLab. I don't know if it's been scheduled yet, but I think we were trying to schedule one. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know this accessibility to IVD, material and testing is a concern around the world, especially in Africa and I'm sure parts of Asia and elsewhere. And so it is worth discussing. But I wanted to invite any comments, additional comments from you.
Yeah, thank you, Khosrow. I need to say that we are in support of that. It's very true that in Africa, challenges are there in most countries, not having such facilities for most cases. There are, pockets of centers very far from many locations. So I can see in Nigeria, it is a serious problem in terms of many tests that are not available as it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Sina. I don't know if you noticed that WHO is very interested on this topic. So they had a webinar last week. I actually attended the webinar and listened to it because I'm interested in this topic because it is really relevant at IFCC. But the WHO has actually guidelines around this and has publications. I didn't realize. So there is already some work done in this area. And so perhaps, are you coming to Munich?
I want to come. I will start my visa process by next week.
Okay, great.
I will come, yes.
I'm hoping like people like you could lead a group that could start looking into this issue. And we now have a good link to IWHO. We're going to actually meet with them soon. So we could maybe get help with WHO and from our federations and corporate members to start at least a dialogue at this time around this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's all from me. So Neil, I don't know if there are if there are no other questions, we can always close early.
Okay, Khosrow, it may be early in your part of the world, but I think it is fairly late where, for example, where Tony Badrick is. I guess it must be way past sunset now. What time is it, Tony?
8:15. Sorry.
Okay, so it's 8 at night. Yeah, okay, I'm 5:15 p.m. in the evening. Okay, but good. I think, if you allow me, Khosrow, let me just close. Firstly,
in the morning, yes.
Firstly, I think thank you very much, everyone. I've got a few people I want to thank very much. Number one, the participants from the APFCB. Those of you who are in the room, we don't see you very much, but I hope you've had a good chance, a good opportunity for the sharing, the learning, the understanding. I hope it will inspire you from your various national societies to be more active, to play a greater role towards laboratory medicine. I thank you for taking the effort to sign in. So thanks very much, participants. Thank you very much to all our panelists here. We've got 30, 40 of us. Thank you for contributing to make this a very live, diverse landscape with all your opinions, your questions, and your intriguing thought-provoking questions. So thank you very much. Also the corporate members, I want to especially sort of thank you. It's not often that, I see so many engaging in, events like this. I just wanted to remind you that, we depend very heavily on you and we acknowledge you. Very often we don't say the thank yous which you deserve, but, indeed, much of us, in fact, the pulse of what we do, particularly in the Asia Pacific region, is because of you and your generous support and understanding of how you further feel. So thank you very much. Thank you all the speakers, for sharing, taking time to share and to present to us. It was a very, very enlightening period. And finally, the back-end ladies behind the scenes who put it all together, prompting me, getting the links together. So Paula, Sylvia Colilansi, Sylvia Cardinale, and Esmeralda, thank you very much. You've done a lot and you're going to repeat this, on multiple occasions in multiple different regions in the world. So thank you very much, everyone. Especially Khosrow, you deserve a rest and a drink. You've been speaking probably for the large part of the last few hours. But your sharing has been transparent. Your sharing has been well appreciated, and many of us take reassurance of the sincerity in which a lot of your messaging has come across. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So with that, I'd like to thank everyone. I wish everyone a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Take care until we meet again for the town hall or at a conference physically or another Zoom or virtual meeting. Good luck, stay well, and stay safe.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you all. I just wanted to say one more message about the conference in Munich. If you can attend, please try to join us. If you cannot travel, register online there will be an announcement very shortly to be able for you to attend virtually. So please join us either in person or virtually. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.